Scrap-iron man, copper dollar, round and round, we haul and wander, tear it down, truck away, scrap iron, copper dollar pay. The bossman says, head over yonder, a factory waits, silent, somber, diesel rumbles, trucks are calling, gathering scrap before night's falling. Scrap is treasure, men do know. Across the land, we all must go. Scrap and copper funds our fight, rebuilding dreams day and night. Scrap metal flows America's ground, and here we go, tearing down to build anew from pieces small. Scrap iron, copper, they stand tall. Scrap iron.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Middle Class Bubba. I'm trying to get that background set, but it is tricky. Well, may not have any background today because of the filter on the thing. But anyway, good morning, good people. Here's Bubba, ready for another Monday morning Bubba. Hey, listen, I know the audio may sound a little echoey. I am on the road again. I've started a new project, working with a great group of guys out here in Hereford, Texas. Now, Hereford, Texas, and by the way, it's 4 o'clock in the morning here. Hereford, Texas is about 40 miles southwest of Amarillo, Texas. And it's a quaint little town. I guess the attributes that may be revealed to you are a main truck thoroughfare for cattle haulers, because the town does have a lot of feed lots where they feed out cattle and get them ready for market, and trains. I think there's a train that runs through town about every 7 minutes, and I'm guessing it's coming east and west, rolling all the time, and it's just unbelievable, the freight trains that come through here. You know, I live in the mountains of northeast Georgia, and there are no trains, so it's taken a little bit for me to get used to seeing all the trains again. It's exciting to me, but I would imagine after a while it's going to be something totally different than exciting. But anyway, I'll try to keep working on this sound stuff and get it. But I'm on the road and I'm in a hotel room. Fortunately enough, I've got this background set up so you don't have to look at the a bed or a couch or whatever's behind me. But I don't have any treatment on the wall. It's a blank wall in front of me here, so I'm getting a lot of echo. I don't know what I can do about that. I may try something. But anyway, I am here. I have made it, and I'm glad that I am with you this morning. So if you've ever started a new project, you know the feeling. It's those new job jitters. Um, you're getting to know the client, we're getting to know the client, or you're getting to know the client, and the client's getting to know you. Everyone's watching how the first few days go. Now, that's where reputations are built. Set expectations early, communicate clearly, and boy, we have been beating it all the way around. And just stay the course. Know what your objectives are. Know what your um, know what your scope of work is, and stay stern and communicate concerns with each other. Because the main thing we do is we provide safe, timely, and efficient service, and the rewards will take care of themselves. But let's go ahead and do the roll call. Tell me where you're headed this morning and what kind of work you're stepping into. And is this a new project or one you've been on for a while? And remember, the first impressions don't come from speeches, they come from how you work when nobody's reminding you. But anyway, I'm here in Hereford. I had to ask old boy at the, where was I? I was getting a hamburger. I was hungry. Carl Jr.'s, I think. I said, is it Hereford or Hereford or Hereford? And he told me in his Texas drawl that it is Hereford. So here I am in Hereford, coming to you live from Hereford, Texas. If you've ever been to Hereford, give me a comment and say, hey man, I've been there before. A lot of feed silos, boy. Maybe next week. I know I'll be here. And next week I'll send you some pictures of the landscape, or have some pictures of the landscape. But anyway, that's where we're at. And let's see, it is 5:05 in the morning. Here's the phrase for the week, and we just talked about it a little bit. Start the project the right way with the right attitude. This week's phrase is about starting a project the right way with the right attitude. That is so important. If you come in there with a not so good attitude and thinking that you're the king of the show when you're working for the client, you may get yourself in a world of hurt right off the bat. Anyway, keep that in mind. I can't get that down low enough. It's because of the audio filter. But anyway, good to see everybody this morning. The right attitude. Your attitude shows up way before your results do. We got here on, I got here last weekend because there's a snowstorm coming in my part of the country, and I wanted to beat it out. And it took me a couple days to drive, and I enjoyed the drive. But we got here, and I met with the safety director for the division of the company I'm working for on Monday, and we drove the site and had some lunch and talked about the project. And then on Tuesday, I went down to breakfast, and there was a couple guys there, and they had on the company I'm working for. They were flying the colors, and heck, I introduced myself and told them who I was, and kind of chit-chatted with them, and had a friendly outlook, and told them I was looking forward to working with them, what my job was, and what I thought was going to happen, and how we were going to work well together, and so be it. And it seems that has been the case so far. But on Tuesday, we spent all day long going through orientation with the client company, and they laid out their expectations. Well, our expectations were just as high, if not higher than theirs. So that was a good match. We'd already done all our preliminary work and communicated with documents, job documents, and we were kind of on the same page when we walked in. And as the work progressed, we had our regular meetings and outlined our work and started perform our task. And they came to our safety meetings early in the morning and saw that we did it with enthusiasm, and that everybody in the crew was an active participant in the safety meeting. Everything from I just lost my camera. Dadgummit, y'all hang on. I don't know why it went to sleep. That crazy thing. I must have said something. I got one of these little webcams. It's got voice activation in it, and sometimes it'll hear something and it'll shut off. I need to go in and change those settings, y'all. Y'all forgive the faux pas. But where was I? Oh, yeah. And they would attend our safety meetings and see that everybody participated in creating the JHA. And they were free to put their notes in on hazards and things like that that we may expect on the job. So they saw that full participation all the way from the written to the flex and stretch to the and then we provided them the documents on the regular basis and applied for their work permits. It was, they had their forms that I had to learn, but electronic forms. And I spent 2 or 3 days or 4 days with their safety representative, learning all the intricate details of what they wanted in there. And so we're putting together a team, and that's what we told them. We're here to do the work for you in a safe, timely, and efficient way. There goes that darn camera again. Tiny, quit going to sleep. Let me see if I can. I don't know how to. Oh, Lord. I'm not going to fool with it. Hopefully, I won't kill it again by using keywords that it's looking for. But your attitude, like I was saying before, shows up long before your results do. Right attitude looks like being prepared, being respectful, being focused, being professional, and being willing to listen before you act. Now, jobs don't usually go sideways because of one big mistake. They go sideways because of 100 small, careless ones stacked together. Stay right, stay disciplined, and finish strong. You don't set the tone with words, you set the tone with your first day of work. All right. This past week on the channel, the other channel, the safety channel, the toolbox topic channel, we talked about understanding current. But let's talk about a little bit about understanding current. When I say current, it's voltage, amperage, and how electricity travels. Here's the simple version. Voltage is the pressure, and amperage is the flow. Current is what does the damage. Electricity always wants to find a path to ground. And if you're in that path, you become part of the circuit. So kind of keep that in mind when you go handle your tools and check your cords. You don't have to touch electricity for it to hurt you. Damaged cords and exposed conductors are silent hazards. Wet conditions lowers your body's resistance. Grounding and GFCIs exist for a reason. Electricity, it doesn't warn you. It doesn't negotiate. It just flows. If it's energized and you're not protected, you're gambling with your life. Yeah, make sure you inspect all your equipment, uh, electric cords, how you store them, how you put them away when you take them out. If you see a break in the insulation, or if you see a bad plug where the ground relief is frayed and worn out, replace that end or replace that cord. Listen, I know those, and take care of your cords, take care of your equipment. They're expensive and they can delay the job, because if old boy like me walks by and sees one that's damaged, he's going to put it out of service. And that could interfere with your production. You don't want that to happen. I don't want to interfere with production. I don't want to stop production, but I'm not going to allow you to hurt yourself or hurt others by using damaged cord or faulty electrical panels or anything like that. So, if you're using that kind of thing on your job, I don't see it much anymore. It seems like everybody's going to battery power, and that's a wonderful thing. People used to talk about it being inconvenient and didn't work, but the technology has come along so far, and guys are learning how to manage their equipment, manage their batteries, and set up charging stations and keep things charged. Over the years, we've learned how to utilize and manage power on those batteries, and I think they're far safer. You just got to learn to manage them just like anything else. So, as you go through your day, but we still do need cords for temporary power. Make sure you're using a GFCI. If you're in a new project and you can't verify that there's GFCI on the outlet you're using, go ahead and plug one in. A lot of times if it's an older building, there's no way for you to know that if it is GFCI, so go ahead and plug one in. It's your protection. And that GFCI, if it detects a fault in the neutral, in the positive, it'll be able to disconnect immediately. Well, as fast as you can get disconnected, it'll disconnect faster than you can get hurt. So don't be stingy with the GFCIs and inspect your power cords. I don't think the OSHA standard may not require for GFCI for fans or battery chargers, but it still might be a good idea if there's an open line or an open circuit attached to a cooling fan, blowing air on you, or a battery charger or whatever you got on the job site. So make sure you're paying attention to all of that electricity flowing around you all the time. All right. Today, I'm on this starting a new project, and a lot of these things I'm talking about, other than the safety challenge stuff, will be about starting a new project and job site challenges. And today, the job site challenge is having professionalism before production. And this week's challenge is, and I don't care if you're the new guy who's got your first construction, or if you're a seasoned professional, a superintendent who's been around for years or decades, demonstrate your professionalism before the work begins. Inspections before operations. Guys get in a hurry. I had a guy kind of get in a hurry yesterday. He had to run a piece of equipment. We just gotten the equipment in late, and it was a critical part of the operation. I'll tell you what it was. It was a water truck to keep dust down. And I had the inspection forms laid out, ready for everybody to look at. And I told them 3 times, I said, 3 times. I said, there's your inspection forms. Make sure you inspect your equipment before you commence work. Make sure you inspect your equipment before you commence work. All 3 times during the safety meeting. Well, guy went out there and I said, you inspect it? He was up there getting ready to roll. I said, you inspect this equipment? He says, and I had his inspection form. He left it. He says, well, I was going to inspect it when I got back. I said, you know you're supposed to inspect equipment before you get started. And so I handed it, and it took a couple minutes out of his time before he had to roll down the road to a water horse, I guess they call it, and fill up that water truck. And so he was delayed a minute or two, but I didn't care. And who could argue with that? Who can argue when a guy says, you know that you're supposed to inspect your equipment before you use it? Is the superintendent going to argue with that? Is the client going to argue with that? But he was in a hurry and he wanted to do a good job. And I had to make the point that doing a good job is doing the required inspection before commencing operation. And then I made a mistake. I had 2 pieces of track hoe equipment, and I put the same track hoe number. These inspection forms have got the track hoe numbers on it, and I put for both the track hoes the same form on the both inspection forms, and so that was on me. And I got caught, and I apologized and told him, you got to keep an eye on me. I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I do know that equipment will be inspected. Anyway, we got that worked out and got everybody going. The next thing is planning before action. And we do that every day. Our company's leadership meets with the client's leadership, and we describe to them what we're going to be doing the next day. And when I do the client's required, they call it something else, but it's just an electronic JHA. And I describe what we're going to be doing and what the hazards are and how we're going to mitigate all those hazards. And then I carry that information and put it into our JHA along with the guys' recognized hazards. I'll say, anybody got anything here? Man, I appreciate you writing it in here, and I'll have something written up, and they'll write up something. And and we have a safety meeting. We talk about all the subjects that are covered, and so that information is constantly being swapped back and forth between the client and us and the guys who are doing the work. So we're planning everything before action. Now, there's things that pop up through the day that we address, but planning before action is one of the key elements of being ready to go to work. And then another thing that is real critical is communication before movement. Now, we've got a lot of moving parts on this job, and this is why I'm talking about it. And maybe it's applicable to what you're doing today, what work you're going to, or what work you're planning, or perhaps a future project you're getting ready for, some of the things that help you plan for that. But communication before movement. Now, we've got multiple moving parts on this job, skid steer, 2 track hoes, a water horse, or a water truck, keep dust down. And, we got guys who are maintaining, side note, Hereford, Texas is way up in North Texas. And it's kind of open prairie land, and the wind blows all the time. And I don't know if any of you have ever had much experience in the demolition business, but Every time you demo, there's insulation, there's all kinds of things, and it's blowing around. So we've got to constantly keep it up. So we've got guys walking around the site picking up insulation before it can blow off into one of these feed lots. Say, we don't want to hear we don't want to hear anybody, their cattle's eating insulation or anything like that. And we're in the footprint of a working factory. There's other buildings around us making, I guess, dog food. And they don't want that stuff blowing around freely that getting into the feed in any way. That's a closed system. You can't hardly get in there, but cleanliness is part of their deal, and we're on their playground, so to say. So we have to maintain cleanliness to their standards, and it's a little more work than what we normally do. But like I said, we've got guys walking around doing housekeeping. We got guys spotting, and so we have to communicate all the time. And the superintendent on this job is a great guy. Had radios ready, so everybody's got a radio. And before you move into the area of a Traco operation that's in the demolition process, you contact them on the radio, make eye contact with them, and approach if you need to talk to the operator or get into his demolition field, or if the skid steer needs to scoot in there and help clean up a little bit on the ground to keep it out of the tracks or whatever. They're communicating regularly. Another thing is controlling unauthorized personnel. It's cool. Construction sites are cool. Demolition is cool. And people, they're not accustomed to having to ask permission or be limited, especially if they've been on this job for 20 years. I've been here 20 years. I know what I'm doing. Well, you don't. I know what you're going to do. You're going to stay out of this site. That sounds a little brash, but I'm not going to let you talk me because of your age and experience or inexperience of just walking into my job site, placing yourself in jeopardy or placing any of my team in jeopardy. Not going to happen. So if we're doing communication, got our signage up, got gates around the place, and we're controlling the site. And that's important whether you're doing demolition or construction. And setup. You got to set up before you gain any speed. If you've got, you think about it. Think about this as you've planned your work. You got a plan, and part of that plan is where this piece of equipment is and what's it going to be doing, what's the ancillary equipment going to be doing, where people going to be staged, and all that needs to be set up before you commence. It's just not about running out there and getting at it just as quick as possible in an unplanned manner. That's dangerous. So go ahead and make sure you have everything set up before you commence your task. Anyone can rush into production, but professionals prepare first, and that's what keeps people safe and projects on track. All right. Why did the electrician bring a ladder to work? Because he heard the job had its ups and downs. Thank you, Pluriforia. Why don't experienced crews panic on new jobs? Well, because they already know the plan beats the rush. Here's one that I like. What is the most dangerous tool on the job site? That's overconfidence. It doesn't come with a warning label. And yesterday, first week on the job, blowing through it, doing a good job, making the client happy. They sent a nice little attaboy to the crew, uh, making them smile all about. And last night was, we're off today because of work scheduling and all this, but the Super Bowl was last night, and boy, they were all excited to get that attaboy, and I said, now, go ahead and puff your chest for a little while, but now let's not become overconfident, because that hides complacency, and that we need to stay focused. But anyway, we had the superintendent on the project bought them some pizza and wings, and they went down there, and they were playing dominoes and watching a ball game and had a good time. I went down for maybe a half hour or so and had some pizza and some wings, and joked around with them for a little while. But I had to get up here and write this script and get ready to be on here and write some other scripts, and I got a tremendous amount of work to do on my day off. But it was fun. They were building that camaraderie, and I told them I didn't want them to think I was a snob, even though I had a ton of things to do. I wanted to come down and visit with them, and I did. We had a good time, and I called it quits about 8:30 my time. I'm normally in bed at 9 Eastern, and it was 8:30 Eastern, but only 7:30 Central Time, and these guys all live in Central Time, so they have a different hours. An hour difference, and and I told them it was my bedtime. So I came up here and did a few things, and then I did lay my head down about 9 o'clock last night, and got up at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock local time, to be ready for you guys. Anyway, that's the joke was the most dangerous tool. What's the most dangerous tool on a job site? And that's overconfidence. It doesn't come with a warning label. That's correct. And that was a real life story we dealt with yesterday. It was good though, man. It was good. The superintendent got that attaboy and sent it up and down the command chain and got all kind of praises coming back and forth. So that was good for the crew's spirit. And help us develop self-confidence and get us moving forward for this successful project. I once saw a crew spend an hour setting up and inspecting before touching a thing. Another crew started in 5 minutes. Guess which one had to stop work twice before lunch? Slow starts usually finish faster. It's like the old tortoise and the hare, ain't it? The old tortoise and the hare. Last week, or this week, I had a question. Come in asking how to balance production pressure with safety on a new job. And the short answer, you don't choose between them, you sequence them. There's always job pressures. We had a delay. I talked about the water truck briefly. And we had one water truck. We were supposed to begin demolition on Saturday morning. Well, we got everything planned up. We had everybody in position. Hell, I had a drone up fixing to take some pictures, had them putting a stick in that building and starting to tear it down. And they cranked up the water truck, and the pump was bad for the hose. And we had just a little bit of water pressure. We were like, oh, man. You can't, when a water truck comes on site, they can't transport them loaded. And so we got it off. We did the inspection. Everything looked good. All the lights, all the backups, everything. No dents, dings, no wrecked parts, components, brakes worked. We did the full inspection. Looked good. And old boy went down to that what they call a water horse and put 1,000 gallons of water in, brought it back to site, had it in position, ready to go. Everybody standing around in position, ready to go. And the pump on the water truck didn't work. 3 hour delay. And old superintendent, he beat the bushes to come up with another one. And we had about a 4 hour delay. And production pressure was on us. We had a meeting at 3 o'clock with the client. And we talked about what the standards were. Controlling dust emissions. We had a little bit of water, and so we went in and just used that low pressure and wet everything down and did a little demolition. And as we got started, the new truck rolled in. So we got a little bit done at the end of the day on Saturday. And yesterday, we was full bore. Boy, we made it up, and we're right on track now, so we're looking good. So when the job, you just can't let job pressures overrule safety. And did we fail in any way to cause that 4 hour delay, 3 hour delay? I don't think so. We planned, we inspected, we communicated, we were ready to go, and one component caused the delay. I had another commenter who said the job always goes smoother when the first day is about setup and not speed. And that's wisdom. I believe in that. That's wisdom that has been earned the hard way. All right, we got 7:35 in the morning. All right, if you got a comment, I'd love to hear it. Y'all got to see me yawn on the TV. If you got a comment, I would love to hear from you. Put something in the giggly gooks, the comments there. Send me a comment. Say good morning, say whatever, ask a question so we can talk about it. I've been doing this for quite a while now. Every now and then somebody will roll by. I see more people popping in on the refeed or the recorded session later on. They'll pop by in and say something and send me a message. But we're going to stay with this thing because I think it's important. And, kind of moving along with that, we normally have a little section in here called Tools and Tricks. I talked a little bit about the inspection on that water truck and the guy getting a little overexcited and wanting to get out there and get her done. One of the tools and tricks is staying organized with equipment inspections. So let's talk about it. Staying organized with inspections. Here's some things to try. Keep a simple daily inspection checklist. Now, inspections to meet the OSHA standard are to be documented. And if you've got 4 pieces, like we did have a couple scissor lifts and a big man lift. So every piece of equipment has its own inspection form, and it has to be done every day. And safety guy will come along and let me see your inspection form. And I'm watching them and I'm making sure they're doing the inspections, and I'll come up and talk to them while they're doing inspections. Group inspections by equipment type. I've got clipboards with each piece of equipment and its inspection form on it. So that's part of staying organized. And it's tough when you're in production, but if there's something wrong, there's something wrong, and it has to be noted on the inspection form. If there's any kind of defective tool or piece of equipment, go ahead and make a tag on it. When we have equipment come onto the job site from a vendor or from internally, somebody gets out there with an electronic form, and we inspect that equipment every day. No, when it comes in, we inspect the equipment when it comes on the job from the vendor or from internally. If it's being transferred from another job, we inspect it, we photograph it, we document it. We inspect it every day and document that inspection on a daily basis if it's being used. And then when it leaves the job site, we do an outbound inspection. Now, it's a pain, but it sure holds everybody accountable. You damage a piece of equipment on your job and you try and ship it off, and you don't have it noted on the when the equipment checks off your job site and it gets on the next job site, there's a disconnect, and that's where we start holding each other accountable. Another thing to do, and this is pretty important, is designate a place for out-of-service equipment. I've told the story 100 times about old Sawzall. This is back in the days where they were corded. Had an extension cord instead of battery powered. Old Sawzall give out, quit working, and old boy he took it and rolled the cord up, took it down, put it back in the truck, and got another one and went back to work. Well, superintendent told the new guy, he says, go down to the truck and get me a Sawzall, come back and we can get this done. And old boy goes down there and gets that old busted Sawzall, brings it up. And it was a long way. It was 8 or 10 floors down and then out across a huge ass parking lot. And probably took him 20 minutes to get there and get the thing. And then he brought it back in the building, and it didn't work. And the old boy said, man, I put that one in the truck a while ago. That thing quit working. And he didn't tag it out or nothing. He just put it back in the truck. And that poor old kid, he had to go get another one. So if you're going to take a tool out of service, take and wrap some tape around it or put a tag on it and say it don't work. Prevent some poor fool having to go traipse and pulling it out and then not working. Don't rely on your memory. If you tag out a piece of equipment or something's broke with it, don't rely on your memory. Rely on the process, the written form. That's just what I covered. And, organization, it prevents those nasty little shortcuts. You ever heard that old saying? Measure twice and cut once. That saying isn't just about carpentry. No, sir. It's about planning, checking, and thinking before action. Preparation costs minutes. Mistakes can cost hours, days, or months. All right. Whew. Y'all about got me talked out this morning. I'd love to see somebody say hello, Scott. I was going to do a live stream from the mobile one time because I was on a job site, and it was before the job started, but I didn't have time to sit at the room and do it because of where the job was. I had to get out for the job, and I was going to live stream just sitting in the cab of the truck and talk to you guys for a few minutes. But I can't live stream from a mobile device unless I have 50 subscribers. Now, this channel has 4 subscribers. So if you cruise by here and you hear this comment, just subscribe to me so I can. It might add another dimension if I could live stream from time to time, and sometimes take the pressure off of me of hustling and being in a hurry to get to the job site. Or it could be add another dimension of me being on a job site and showing you some of the stuff that I am doing and participating in. So, uh, I don't ask for it very often. I've been doing this quite a while now, but give me a chance, subscribe to the channel so we can broaden our outreach. This is all about you guys. This is like having an independent toolbox safety topic meeting. It's where you can tune in as a new guy and grasp how you need to behave on a job and make your advancement in your company and your career. Or you could be a superintendent who needs to freshen up, gotten caught up in the doldrums of doing the same thing without you having anybody to talk to you or for you to talk to about the challenges you face on a daily basis trying to run a safe, timely, and efficient project. So this is for everybody, and it's and I'm not here. I can't make judgment on you. I can't affect your career. All I can do is affect your mental attitude, and that's the beginning. You got to have a good mental attitude. Anyway, this week on the channel, we're talking about extension cord roulette, damaged cords, grounding, and overload. And we'll cover why beat up cords are accidents waiting to happen, or how grounding protects you, and how overloads start fires and failures, and when a cord should be taken out of service. No debate. Electricity doesn't forgive guesswork. And we've talked about that already a little bit this morning. So I guess I'll sit here and feel some dead air space, try to come up with something to talk to you about. I hope everybody's doing good this morning. You give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I don't want to feel like I'm sitting here begging you guys to do anything. I don't really care. I just, I do this. I do this because I want to do it. I'm a semi-retired guy. I do some consulting. I do some contract work. The finances are good, but I want to stay fresh. I want to stay in contact. I want to keep my voice up. I want to stay engaged in what I feel important. And I've contributed a number of years of my life to safety and to training guys and helping them be safe on the job and wanting them to be safe. Not because it's credit on my behalf. I go home and sleep, go fish, or it took me 2 days to drive here, and I had to talk myself into it a little bit. I committed to it. The company I'm working for, I gave a portion of my life. I gave, let's see, 7 years, 8 years with them, being in the field, getting out there with the guys. And before that, I was a operations manager in demolition, safety manager in demolition, general manager, chief operating officer. And so I've been in the construction and demolition field. Before that, I was in truck driving, did some trucking management, built trucking terminals, made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of things, and and had a lot of experiences, good ones and bad ones, and some were self-imposed. But I just felt like that needed to be shared with these young guys coming up. Old man's always talking about what he did, didn't do. Well, I'm just trying to share some experience with you. Um, get you ahead in this game of life. If you're interested in growing your career, uh, you could rely on me. Uh, I'll give you all the information I have. If you're up against a challenge and you need some talking points, or you need something to get your head right in the challenge that you're facing, that's the role I want to play. I want you to be successful. And I don't know your name. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't need to know you to want you to be successful. I just want you to be successful. I want you to have a purpose in your life. I want you to have a career that you love, and be able to provide for your family, and be successful in both family and work life, and have a fulfilled life, and go through your life being grateful for everything you got. And that's the approach you need to have. And that's why I get up this time of the morning and talk to myself for an hour. And that's why I make safety videos. And that's why I talk about on the Nothing New channel about, things like virtue, and your self success, and your own head game, so that life is not just a constant drudgery. It's out there and getting it, man, and being somebody, being something with yourself. Uh, opportunities are opportunities are unlimited in this thing we call life. You have, man, you can, if you get up and get going, you can do anything you could be the next Elon Musk if you want to. I'm not saying you look like him, but you could sure have that level of stuff. And there's sacrifices and balances and all that stuff that you'll have to make. Um, you want to spend more time with your family, or you want to provide them more goodies? Uh, that's your call. That's your balance. Um, and you're going to, as you grow older and your children grow older, you're going to have those things. You could be the dad that stays home and spends every minute you possibly can with your family, and maybe not have the newest cars and the newest houses and all that good stuff, but you have good family time. Or you can be the kind of person that puts more emphasis on the career, so you could take your family on more trips, cruises, whatever. Um, but it's always going to be a balance, but that balance is on you. And there's always going to be a regret. There's always going to be a happiness. There's going to be a balance of things. And my friend, you're the one who gets to strike that balance. And it's a challenge, it's a burden, and it is a gift. So get up, get going, get down in the street, and whatever it is you choose, don't half ass it. Give it full fucking throttle. Anyway, excuse my language. Whatever you're going to do, don't half ass it. Just get after it. You got to be, you want, do you? You ain't got to be remembered for anything. I guess the question is, do you want to be remembered for anything? You make that decision. You make that choice. And then you have to act on that decision. Anywho, that's what we call fluff. just feeling some dead air. Anyway, boy, I tell you what, I enjoy this morning when I was creeping around here, when I should say creaking instead of creeping. When I get up every morning, everything's creaking and groaning. I still got a lot of stuff to do today. Anyway, we're running out of time. Let's see. Well, we got 7 minutes. What y'all got planned for today? Anybody watch that football game last night? I watched part of it. I think it was 9-0. And then the halftime came on, and this fuzzy bunny fella or something came on there, and I said, well, I got confused watching that fella, trying to figure out what it was all about, and I just said, well, I had enough of this. Y'all give me a comment about that fuzzy bunny fella. That was a odd thing in my world. Now I'm probably a little older than some out there. Shoot, I was confused about that fella. Anyway, fortunately I had some fellas to associate with. I'm glad I wasn't in a room by myself watching that. I'd have thought I'd have done slipped off into some weird world and may never get back to reality if I hadn't had my friends around watching that darn thing. Anyway, you probably like him. If you like him, I'm glad for you. I'm glad for him. I said, man, well, I'm happy for him. People was like, what? I said, yeah, he got on the Super Bowl. He making money. He got a purpose. I don't know if I agree with it, but he's got a purpose, and he's got some modicum of success. He got to do the Super Bowl halftime. He looked like a made-up cartoon fellow to me. Kind of a weird Bugs Bunny kind of thing. I don't know. His name was what? Fuzzy Bunny or some crazy stuff? Anyway, well, that's about all the dead air space filling I know how to do. I got to say it. Have an opportunity to come out here to Hereford, Texas, and working with these group of guys and on this demolition project. The first words out of my mouth was, I've heard so much about you guys, and I can't wait to work with you. I heard you were the best crew, and I'd heard a few things, but and they did. They're proving to be it, and I don't know if it's because I put the pressure on them by saying I heard they's a great bunch. They's already a great bunch. It don't matter. They're performing admirably on this project, and I am proud to be associated with these fellas. And to be honest with you, I can't wait for the successful conclusion of this project. Great leadership. Matter of fact, old superintendent told me be quiet the other day, and he was right. I was running my mouth too much. I get excited, and I started to interject something to me. He says, let me finish. And I said, man, I'm sorry. And he finished, and the leadership team for the client asked me if I had anything, and I said, no, sir. He said exactly what I was going to say. And he did. I just got excited and forgot my place, and I apologized to him, and I'm going to make a better effort. For years and years, I had to take a leadership role or position or whatever, and God dang it, safety guys, they think they know every damn thing. But anyway, I'm going to make a better effort because these guys really do know what they're going, and I've got to be better at taking a subordinate position. That's kind of tough for a fellow like me. That's my challenge. What's your challenge? What is your challenge in your world? Anyway, I'm grateful for the crews who show up prepared, professional, and committed to doing the right thing the right way, especially on new jobs. And remember, start right, stay disciplined, look out for each other, and keep it safe, timely, and efficient. And listen, guys, that's it for me today. I have really enjoyed being here this morning, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until we do see each other again, as always, have a grateful day, and we'll see you next time.